So this is my current mouse rotation. These 6 mice stuck with me because I am good with them. It's that simple really. Whenever I find a better mouse, it gets a place in my rotation and another one gets kicked out. And that's how I ended up with these. But recently I've been noticing a trend. I'm starting to put more mice in my rotation that are less expensive. Like, this might come off as a bit of a weird flex, but I have lots of mice that I can choose from, and a few that are pretty expensive. So you'd think I'd end up using only the most high-end and expensive mice, but that's really not the case. If you look at my current mouse rotation, 2 of these are a bit more on the expensive side, yes, but these 3 mice usually can be had in the $50 to $70 price range, so about half of what your typical premium gaming mouse costs. And honestly, it's hard to believe that you're not giving up something when you're paying like half the price for a gaming mouse, right? It's hard to imagine that these are just as good as the much more expensive premium options. But you know, I'm starting to believe that these premium gaming mice are actually a bit of a ripoff. I don't think that a top-of-the-range wireless gaming mouse needs to cost more than these. See, take the build quality for example. While just using these mice, playing Valorant, focusing on the game, I don't notice any differences in build quality between them whatsoever. All of them are built well enough that you really have to go out of your way to notice any differences. You'd have to squeeze them much harder than you ever would while gaming and hold them up to your ear to catch any creaking sounds. But yeah, people still like to squeeze the hell out of their mice to test the build quality, so let's go ahead and actually do that as a little blind test. So, which one do you think is the cheaper mouse? It's sample A. Okay, another one. A or B? It's A again. The differences are pretty subtle, right? To me, the only mouse here that really stands out is the Vexy XES. It really is built like a tank, but that's probably not because it's a more high-end product. Thing is, it's about 50% heavier than the other mice, so it's really no surprise that it can be more solid. On that note, it's actually impressive how light these budget mice actually are. All 3 of them are around the 40-gram mark, and that's with standard skates and no holes in the shell or bottom plate. It really doesn't get much lighter than this, no matter how much you spend. It's insane when you think about it. These are considered budget mice, but yet these are some of the lightest mice of this kind that you can buy. And these are only a few grams heavier than the current ultra high-end mice that are made from carbon fiber composite that are covered with holes, and also are like 3 times the price. The lightest standard size mouse with a solid top shell that I can think of right now is actually the Pulsar X2 Crazy Light, which, yeah, is crazy light at just below 38 gram on my scale, but this one has holes in the bottom plate, and even so, it's just about a gram lighter than the ATK Met R, which is completely solid and less than half the price. Makes you wonder how they're able to pull this off. It's not even like they're cheaping out on the sensor or the wireless tech. The MCHOS L7 Pro and the ATK Met R that I have here use the slightly older 3395 sensor, which is still perfectly fine, but you could also just pay a little more and get these equipped with the 3950 sensor that most flagship mice are using. And the Skyrox V6 already has the 3950 as standard. And the wireless tech? Well, the times where only Razer knew how to make good wireless mice with high polling rates are long gone. ATK, Skyrox, Pulsar all have super stable 8K polling, and their results even look slightly better than Razer's. But doesn't really matter at this point, just goes to show that mouse manufacturers have figured out how to do wireless 8K polling now. However, the MCHOS L7 Pro doesn't quite reach the advertised 8K polling. It's more like 6.8K, which is a bit disappointing. But I've just got it set to 4K, saves some battery life, and the 4K mode performs just as well as Vexy's, so it's not really something to complain about. But you know, polling rates are one thing, actually delivering low latency is another, so I was a bit surprised by the results I got from the latency rig. The 3 cheapest mice are actually topping the chart. Sure, it's highly debatable if sub 1 millisecond differences even matter, they probably don't, but it's still very impressive to see the least expensive mice coming out on top. So at this point, the price tags of gaming mice just make no sense to me anymore. There's no correlation between price and latency, spending more money doesn't get you a better wireless connection or a lighter mouse, and there isn't even a clear-cut connection between price and build quality, or which sensor a mouse is using. And the shapes? Well, it's hard to even keep up with who is cloning which shape and which brand came up with it first, so I don't know if these are straight-up clones of anything, but I know that I like these shapes. All three offer slightly different takes on the classic medium to high hump claw grip shape, and they're all just well executed. The market is really flooded with options nowadays, so you don't even have to pay a premium anymore if you like a certain mouse shape. Sure, if you know who made the original design, that might be worth supporting, but chances are there are probably a dozen mice with almost exactly the same shape for a lot less money. Take the MCHOS L7 and the Pulsar X2CL for example. I don't know who came up with this shape, but at first glance you could think these came from the same mold. The differences are very subtle, and if I hadn't both already, I'd find it pretty hard to justify paying more than twice the money for the Pulsar. Still though, I'm probably gonna retire the L7 from my rotation pretty soon and just keep the Pulsar. Not because the L7 is bad by any means, it's an amazing mouse, but it's just too similar to the Pulsar X2CL, and the Pulsar is ever so slightly better. It's 3 grams lighter, and I like that the sensor position is a bit more forward on the Pulsar. It's really kinda stupid when you think about it, that a 3-gram weight difference and a sensor position that's just different by a few millimeters are the deciding factors for me between these two mice. But that just goes to show how similar gaming mice are these days, even if there's a significant difference in price. Thanks for watching, bis zum nächsten Video.